Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series.
Hey guys, it's Adam here. Check it out. Obviously, got a couple of packages here. Now these are both basically the same thing. This one on the left here, on my left, your right, being the regular edition, and this one being the limited edition. Since they're basically the same item, I'm just going to open up this one in the video, and then I'll just show you this one at the end. So I'll move this out of the way to make space. Now, moving this over here. What is this thing? Well, it's a figure that comes from a company called First4Figures. If you guys know anything about them or you don't know anything about them, I'll put a link in the description. In the description, you can check it out. They basically make figures and statues based on video game characters, and their shit is quite impressive. Unfortunately, rather expensive, but rather impressive. Now, there's a lot of people who collect tons of those figures. I don't do that. But there is one I have had previously, I still have it, is the Ryo Hazuki figure they put out. Now, Ryo Hazuki is the main character of my favorite video game of all time, Shenmue. I did a video on it years ago showing both the regular edition and the limited edition. So what would make me get another figure from First4Figures? Another Shenmue related one, of course. This is Lan Di, the antagonist or villain of the game. And the funny thing about this is that this is, as far as I know, the last piece of Shenmue merchandise that actually predates Shenmue 3. And if you're like, wait, Shenmue 3 came out? I didn't even know. No, Shenmue 3 is not out yet. But we've known that Shenmue 3 was coming since the summer of 2015, E3. We've actually known about this thing since the end of 2014 or the beginning of 2015. It actually predates that, which is kind of interesting. Because I know a lot of people thought that this was coming out because of Shenmue 3. No, I don't think there's any correlation. Again, this was announced well before that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, so I'm going to open it up here in a bit. But you know, it's amazing how long these statues must take them to produce, because the end of 2014 or beginning of 2015 is when they announced this thing, when we first heard about it. Then it was available for pre-orders at the end of 2015. Then it shipped at the end of 2016. It actually arrived. I've had this since November of 2016. It's now early 2017. Well, what stopped me from opening it? I didn't have time to produce a video on these two things until now. And so I had the choice, either wait to do the video or just, you know, open them and just put them away and you guys would never see them. Well, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to show them to you guys. So I hope you appreciate the sacrifice of me just waiting here, you know, wanting to open these things. But now, moving on. Let's finally get into this thing. As you can see, cool actual shipping box. Usually the shipping box isn't very interesting, but in their case it actually says First4Figures on it. It says what it is. It even has the unit number of which one I've got, which I don't know if you can read it, and I hope you can't because I want to show it to you in the nicer box in the inside. So we'll open it up here. Cutting the top. I got my trusty scissors available. Here we go. I'm excited to see this thing, man. A lot of people are saying that the quality of this particular statue is very impressive. Like, you know, even the people who really are into First4Figures stuff say this one is really worth the money and really worth the investment. So let's see how true that is. Now, when we first open it up at the top, we just see a piece of cardboard. That's not too interesting. Move that out of the way. Inside, we have the box of the figure along with some styrofoam packing. So we're going to pull that up. It's upside down. Let's put it this way. That way you guys can hopefully possibly read it. It says Shenmue on the top there. Slide that out there. Now we'll just move that off to the side. There's nothing else in there. Get rid of these little styrofoam edge corner things. Very cool, very cool. They obviously do a hell of a job packaging this thing, making sure it's safe. Take off this plastic wrapping and get down to the box, the main box. Very cool. Front of the box, of course, Lan Di looking all badass. First4Figures, it says Shenmue. More poses on this side as well. And on this side. As mentioned before, on the top it says Shenmue. Bottom is just, you know, black, whatever. On the back, it has some information. It has some quotes from the character, and then it also mentions that there are 750 of these worldwide. 750 of the regular edition was produced. I believe the limited edition had 250 copies. And then it has my product number, the unit number that I have. Out of 750, I have number 6. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a pretty low number. I'm pretty happy with that. Not that the number really means much of anything, but it's just kind of cool to think, oh, of all the people who ever ordered one of these, I had the 6th one. But now, let's move on. Let's open it up. Inside, so we'll take, there's a little flap deal here. Oh, the flap's even nice. It says First4Figures on it. Lift it up, and then of course it has their website. And inside, the first thing you see is a little pamphlet thing. It says First4Figures on one side. On the other side, it basically mentions that you should authenticate your statue. You'll see more about what that means in a second. But inside it has a quality control stamp. My understanding is this is new. More of the new figures have this. The Ryo Hazuki one did not. I don't know if it really means anything, but so we'll slide it out here. Right on. And then there's a little card, which is what for authentication. Let's just slide the box out of the way here. Now the little card that popped out usually is in the side. Yeah, usually like right there. It's taped to that, but yeah, it was taped to that and it just fell out. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, it's a little serial number card. You basically go to this website and you register that you have this particular statue, and I guess there's certain benefits to that. Since I don't regularly buy things from First4Figures, that doesn't really mean much, but I'll probably do it because it takes like, what, 8 seconds? Who cares? There could be some potential benefits, but regardless, you still have this cool looking Londi credit card type of thing. There is one for the Ryo as well, which I have, so nice. Move that to the side. Now you can see the styrofoam figuring it comes in. It isn't even generic. You know, it says First4Figures. It's emboldened. It says Londi on it. It says Shenmue. And then on the other side, it actually has like a little molding of him as well, which is awesome. So now we're going to cut into this, I believe. We'll take our scissors here, kind of split them up into a little knife deal, and kind of cut the side. There we go. Cut the side. Nice. Cut the other side as well. Perfect. And let's see how that goes. I think I need to get the bottom as well. Yep. And there we go. It's always horrifying. I know a lot of you guys freak out when I use like blades. So he's gonna cut himself one day. It's gonna happen. Possibly. Hasn't happened yet though. We lift up here. Okay. Inside, very nice. We have you can see what it looks like right there. There's a bunch of silica gel, you know. And we got obviously the figure, and then there's a couple of pieces. There's a reason for that, which I'll get to in a minute. But first, let me take the body of the figure out here, lifting it up like this. There we go. All right, we'll take that out of the wrapping in just a moment. Take out these other items, put them off to the side. I'm going to take the styrofoam, put it away. Now, down to this. Let's unwrap the individual items. Oh my God, it's an arm. Yeah, that's one arm. And I'll bet you can't guess what the other thing is. It's another arm. We'll look at that in a moment. But let's take out the figure. There we go. Now there is the figure itself. Now on the bottom, just so you're not like, oh, my serial number is only on my box, who cares? Serial number is actually also on the figure, on the bottom right there. So I have number 6. Woo! But yeah, you can see the figure is beautiful. The detail on this thing is truly sublime, and unfortunately I'm sure that the lighting and camera setup I have here will not in any way, shape, or form do it justice, but it still looks quite good. As you can see, it has the base from presumably the Hazuki dojo from the beginning of Shenmue 1. Now, the reason for the 2 arms, they give you 2 different poses. Unlike the Ryo Hazuki statue, which is in a fixed position at all times, this one has 2 different ways of posing it. This particular arm goes in like that, and then he looks like, you know, he does at the when he ends that scene, after he's beaten up Iwao and he's leaving the dojo, so he looks all badass and menacing. Alternatively, you can pop that arm right out and replace it with this one, and he looks more combative. You know, this is the pose he makes right before he kills Iwao. Spoilers from the beginning of the game. But yeah, so that's really cool. The best thing about this too is it uses magnets as opposed to having any sort of like wires or pins or slots of any kind that you have to connect to, joints, any of that stuff. So that's really good. It'll reduce the probability of damage. Check that out. How awesome is that? So we got the regular edition here, we have the limited edition here. Now, obviously what I've decided to do is have the regular edition, which has, again, the dojo base, have his arm like back, like in that pose that he does at the end of the cutscene when he leaves the dojo, because I don't know, it just looks more sinister, and it's like the last thing Ryo saw, you know, other than his one scene in Shenmue 2. Whereas this one, he's in the more combative state, and I like that because, you know, he's on top of the dragon mirror, and it's like a spiritual plane, you know, like whenever Ryo imagines him in that game, he's always combative, and it's more of a mental thing. And I don't know, that's just how I wanted to roll with it. there was another reason, of course. If you want to compare him to the Ryo Hazuki figure, which I have right here, regular edition, you can see that Ryo was on top of a street corner, basically. This is like the parking lot when he's like practicing moves, so that their bases don't match, so it wouldn't be good for them to theoretically be fighting there. But the other one, the limited edition, is on top of the Phoenix mirror, and so very cool to put those next to each other, because then they're mentally fighting on that, you know, whatever plane of existence. I don't know. that's my weird logic and just why he's gonna have this arm as opposed to that arm, whatever. But yeah, man, so the figure is awesome. The detail on this thing truly is amazing. And I gotta be honest, it puts the Ryo figure to shame. Yeah, like the detail on it is so surreal. Like, you know, you look at it in a video game or you look at a cartoon or anything like that and you go, oh yeah, that's really cool how that looks, whatever. But you think about it, that's just a drawing. This is actually rendered in front of me in real life, and the detail is just sublime. For someone to actually go through and actually be able to do that is extraordinarily impressive. And yeah, I gotta be honest, I think it is the better figure, even though obviously Ryo Hazuki is the character I prefer. But yeah, it's really just really awesome. In case you're curious, my limited edition, I ended up, there's 250 of them produced. I ended up with number 20. How cool is that? And I think my, yeah, it's actually the same one. My limited edition of Ryo was also number 20, so I have both number 20s of that. How cool is that? Actually, now I'm curious because I had number 6 of that, and I have number 6 of the regular edition. I didn't even realize that. See, that's one of those benefits of registering the figure. That way you get the same number each time, so that's really cool. So there we go. Yeah, so if you guys are interested in this, again, I have a link in the description. You can check it out. Depending on where you are in the world, though, it may be hard to get. Versions of it are sold out in some areas and, you know, in stock in other areas. I believe, like, I'm an American, so for me, if I were to just buy it right now, I believe the regular edition is in stock, but the limited edition is sold out. Whereas parts of, like, the world, it still has a limited edition, but it's sold out of the regular edition. I believe off mentally, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm sure this is subject to change, it's just based on when I shot this video. But Australia had the limited edition, but not the regular edition. Asia, which is what they generically describe it as, had the limited edition, but not the regular edition. Europe seemed to be sold out of both, and oddly enough, Canada didn't have the regular edition, but they had the limited edition. So if you're an American, you want both, find a Canadian buddy to get you one, you get them the other, I don't know, figure that out, but that's cool. As far as Shenmue goes, there's a little bit of stuff to discuss that I thought I would bring up here. First of all, how weird is it? We're in a year where Shenmue 3 is coming. Shenmue 3 is due to release in December of 2017, although I'll be the first to admit, if they feel the need to delay the game because it's not quite right or whatever, do it. Don't push it out the door because you feel obligated. Get the game right. That's how I feel, and I hope that's how you would feel too. In an era where everybody bitches about patches and broken games, get the game right. Secondly, if you want to help make the game better, or if you didn't, already buy it, or if you want to pre-order it, however you want to think of it, I'll put a link to the Slacker Backer campaign in the description. Basically, that's where you can help fund the game directly, and your funding is essentially a pre-order. You can buy a copy of the game. But the cool thing about that is that your money isn't used to just recoup a publisher's costs. No, no, no. Your money goes straight into reaching stretch goals to add more content into the game. And we're relatively close, I say we as if I have anything to do with it, but we are relatively close to hitting the $7 million stretch goal, which would enable all sorts of new content, which is really cool. I know a lot of PC gamers out there were interested in the game, but that only was available through Kickstarter. No longer the case. You can now buy the PC, both digital or even physical editions of the game through the Slacker Backer campaign. So once again, go ahead and check it out. There's all sorts of other merch on there, like t-shirts and bigger packages, and even things like getting yourself as like a little chibi or whatever in the game, like a capsule toy, although I don't know if that one's still there or not, but yeah. So definitely cool to look into that. And the other thing I want to address, because I got a bazillion emails about this, so Sega recently bought the domain ShenmueHD.com. I think they did a couple of different domains, and everybody was like losing their shit, being like, "Oh my God, it's confirmed! Sega's making Shenmue HD." It doesn't confirm anything. That's standard business operations, just standard procedure for a major company, just to protect their interests. It's kind of like when companies file patents for products they have no interest in actually producing. It's just basically to prevent other people from doing it. Same basic logic. I mean, Sega owns Shenmue. They know the concept of Shenmue HD is on people's minds. They just want to make sure they have that website in case they ever need it, but they may not necessarily ever use it. Now, it's very well possible that Shenmue HD is coming. In fact, it probably is at some point. It's, you know, Sega has a lot of like logistical loopholes and legal loopholes to jump over. You know, things like they have to deal with all the corporate tie-ins were in that game. They have to go to all these companies and see who's still willing to play ball. The game itself was oddly constructed, so porting it and stuff is not as easier said than done. And then I'm sure they also want to see if Sony will give them some sort of additional kickback if they make it a PS4 exclusive or something like that. So we'll see what happens with that. But all I'm saying is the registration of ShenmueHD.com, while not by any stretch of the imagination a bad thing, doesn't actually confirm shit. But yeah, whatever. Definitely cool. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please check out the Slacker Backer campaign if you're interested in the figure. Check that out as well. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you all later.